Okay, so we've just gone over the data and we've seen that you can go faster, but you usually don't go faster. You probably don't try to go a whole lot faster because a lot of the problem, 11-degree attack angles. Club paths are a little on the excessive side. We saw up into the probably eights was the highest. Let's just look real quick here. 8, 8, 8, 5, a couple of eights, but most of them, in the 5 and 6 range. So not completely horrid, but um, fairly consistent. And then those would be right paths for you as the lefty. Face to path, well, we got face issues, but face issues are all kind of because of the attack angles and the paths, right? So we've got pretty consistent, but we've got some consistent excessives. So with that, we're going to start to look at you now. So this is the plate you're standing on. This would be your trail foot. This would be your lead foot, just like if you're kind of looking down at your feet.
Yeah.
Each dot is the balance point under each foot. The big dot in the middle, we call it the combined center of pressures. So you've heard of that on YouTube as the weight transfer, just that we're not dealing in weight, right? So we're not going, you're moving 12 pounds. You can see, yeah, we're dealing pressure, and you can see the darker the red it gets, the more pressure is in that position. So what I'm watching for is how this dot moves, how quickly it moves, how much it moves, the percentage it moves, does it move towards the toes, towards the heels. All of those kind of relative to different positions in the swing give us some pretty good ideas as to kind of what's going on there. So as we start your swing back, we see that pressure move back into your trail foot, just like it's supposed to.
That's surprising because it almost does. It feels like I kind of stay loaded into that front leg.
Yeah.
Through like the whole backswing.
Yeah, and even if you kind of look at it, right, you can see how everything is kind of leaning that way, right? And then as you get up here, that's where, like I said, once again, what you feel and what's happening, we gotta understand. Like, because if you said, I always feel like I do this, so I'm always working on weight transfer. Well, if you transfer and then you're working on transferring, it's like a waste of time, or it's going to make something worse, right? So yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've had that have come in and have taken lessons at the driving range where all they're working on is shifting their weight. I'm like, you shift your weight, that's not the problem. So why keep beating this dead horse lesson after lesson because someone doesn't measure, right? So you are shifted, you're 69% into your trail foot. That pressure now shifts forward ahead, just like it's supposed to do. Kind of goes out towards the toes a little bit. You can see right in there, and then kind of dives into the heel. Yeah, it's not horrid. So what's really good about this? The shape of it is good. Overall, the timing of it is good, and the percentages are good. So as I'm thinking through this in my head, I'm like, all right, what I'm seeing and what's happening here, like this is pretty darn good. So what's going on up here, right? Why do we have if someone knows how to move back and forward, what's keeping them from doing better, right?
For me, probably more of like a rotational issue then.
Could be. Could be a right hip issue, right? Like, let's check it out. So any questions on this? Like, it's pretty cut and dry for me. Like, what I mean by that is, if you went from, I get people that'll come back and then they'll go up, over, up, across. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't know it. And I say, hey, stand there like this for me in your golf setup, and now do this and try to throw a ball forward. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, if I'm going to propel something this way and you're going this way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yours just shoots back. It shoots forward. It's good. It's good.
Is there any, like, I know probably the answer is no, but like any one single perfect like answer for what it should be?
Great question. I think in theory there is.
Right.
It's kind of what yours does. Okay. It goes back, it goes forward. I've never had anybody with bad pressure trace that goes back and forward that doesn't get better. In other words, the more efficient that gets, the better they get if it's bad to start with.
Okay.
Now, there are people you'll find on YouTube that use force plates that will say, don't let anybody tell you there's one way to do it. Because they're looking at tour players that have done something all their lives and established a pattern that works for them. And so the answer is, well, if that guy can make it work, somebody else can make it work, and nobody should tell you different. if you study human biomechanics of how we move as humans, and now we're talking about how we propel something, regardless of what it is. So the golf club is the end object that we're trying to make go faster. A rock is the end object that we're trying to make go faster. A club, you get where I'm going. I want to keep right. A football, right? I can go down.
Whatever it is.
There's an efficient way to get energy through our body, through our torso, out our arms, and into that distant object. There is one efficient way to do it. Now, we are not all efficient as humans. So if someone is making a better golf swing and their trace is not perfectly going back to front, I'm not going to tell them, oh, that's wrong because you're not going back to front. We're going to understand why you need to do something to make something work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, but what I find is that the simpler that is, the simpler or the more potential we have to move it up and forward. So if we think of throwing, if I come back like this, right? I'm a baseball pitcher, right? I'm loading into this right hip, this right glute, right? I'm internally moving in this hip. I'm gonna separate this way. I'm gonna plant. I'm gonna drive the hip. I'm gonna drive the shoulder. I'm gonna drive the elbow. I'm gonna drive the wrist. I'm gonna drive the ball. Tennis serve. I'm up. I'm gonna drive the hip. I'm gonna drive the shoulder. I'm gonna drive the arm. I'm gonna drive the wrist. I'm gonna drive the racket. So you see, there's, and this is what I'll go to this really quick. I'm not here. We were just talking about our efficiency wave, and so we looked at your pressure. Pressure looks good. Okay, so I look at golf swings as far as the first thing I look at is set up, grip, posture, and stance based on your anatomy. So I'm going to look like, you're a broad-shouldered guy. You're always going to be a broad-shouldered guy. Doesn't matter if you lose weight, you're still a broad-shouldered guy, right? You're never going to be narrow like me. We're built differently, right? So how you're built is going to have an influence on how you set up. So that's the first thing I kind of look at. So when I look at your setup here, I actually think you've done a pretty good job with your down the line setup. So if I go right up the bone of your ankle here, and then I go right up about the balls of your feet, I want to see the tips of your knees and the crease of your armpit and the back of your knees. So you see your knee fills that spot and you're right there. So you've done a good job with your down the line. Your face on setup, I'm not a fan of.
Okay, fair enough.
Right, I'm not a fan, and I want you to look at how crooked everything looks. So our head's kind of going this way a little bit. Our shoulders are really steep going this way a little bit. We got a big, broad-shouldered guy with this little tiny base. I tell people, I go, you ever drove down the road and seen a building built like that? You probably don't, right? We have to have a base of support for what's going on top. So when you go back to Rahm, you mentioned Rahm. You ever notice he doesn't have a really narrow stance.
Yeah.
He's a pretty wide stance, right?
I think some of that, like closing in my stance, was from feeling issues with transfer when my base was wider.
Could be.
And then feeling like, my hips were even more locked than they probably are.
Yeah, certainly could be. What else happens when you narrow your feet? You get taller or shorter?
Taller.
Okay. What do you have, a tack angle problem?
Oh, yeah.
So if you widen your feet, what happens? You probably hit the ground more.
Yeah.
So what would feel like, and what you're telling me, when you describe a feel, it's as real, right? Like that doesn't mean it's actually what you're doing, but it's real to you. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. You walk out the door, you're like, hey, this Tyler guy was nice, but I'm going to just go back to whatever. Don't ever let someone give you a whole lesson telling you what to feel. So it's another thing. Go to YouTube. What do they go? Okay, I want you to feel. Wait a minute. Okay, so you've had this experience somewhere in your life, and you're trying to tell me to feel what you've experienced.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same input, but feels different to two different.
It's just like I say, I got like one of my junior golfers when he started with me a while back, and I remember I go, tell me a food that you just can't stand. He's like, oh, I hate avocados. I'm like, really? I love avocados.
Yeah.
I go, why do you hate avocados? So they taste terrible. Dude, what are you talking about? They taste great. No, dude, they taste terrible. I go, how long should we go on like this? And he's like, what do you mean? And I go, are you wrong? He's like, no, I don't like avocados. I go, am I wrong? He goes, no, you like them. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
So what you're feeling is not wrong or right based on, so how can I tell you to always like avocados?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So we have to, why I use all this information is like, if we're going to create an exercise to make you better, we have to have something to measure or to decide what we're trying to improve and what we're trying to make better. Mm-hmm. Then what I say, let's say you make 2 swings in a row and your attack angles are 5 both times. and your path is 0. That's moving the needle. I go, what'd you feel on those last 2 swings? And you're going to go, you know what? That my left shoulder moved this way through impact. Okay, show me again. And if that happens, then your feel
Yeah, you can build a pattern.
is what you know when you go to the range. Oh, okay, this is what I was feeling when I was working on that produced my results. So you don't just guess.
Yeah.
So you're not on the golf course going, what am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm supposed to feel my right elbow move towards the target. What does that even mean?
That's kind of
It has to mean it to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's a more detailed explanation of what I was trying to touch on earlier, was that I feel like if with lessons and getting the proper inputs
Mhm.
and how to create those ideal conditions, I just need to learn what that feels like.
Exactly.
And I don't mind
Exactly.
testing and, building from the ground up.
But my point is that comes from you.
Mhm.
I'm the coaching side to help you get to that point.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what I feel and expect you to execute it, right? And that's where I have so much problem with some of the stuff you see. So when you learn to golf and you learn to grip the club, this is one of the things I see is really, really common. And I want to show you what happens here. I'm going to show you left-handed here. I'll do my best to show you left-handed. So what I want you to do is stand just by your bag. So can you see behind me okay here?
Yeah.
Like you can see my spine? Okay, so our trail arm needs to be lower than our lead because that's how we hold the club, right?
Yeah.
So when people learn to grip the golf club, what ends up happening is they usually do one of two to three things. The first is they'll bring the club backward like this, and then they'll bring this hand down. So you kind of see what happens here when I do that, right?
Yeah.
The next thing they'll do is kind of what you've done, which is you've moved this way, right? Because we see your shoulders get really steep.
Right.
So if I want my spine to be able to do this, to be able to go right back to this spot, and I now take it and I do this with it. See how crooked all that is?
Yeah.
So I can't move this back now without somehow finding a way to straighten this spine out to make my move. I have a rear camera. I don't always use it with the righties. Sometimes I flip it on depending on the person, but I can't get that one far enough away to work with the lefties. But I show people when you come back over here now, what I do is I'll show people what they look like from behind, how their head's going to go one way, their spine is going to have like this zigzag to it as it kind of goes down into the base because the shoulder's pulled so far over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So face on setup, down the line setup, great. Face on setup, we can help you out quite a bit just from that. So let's see what that leads to. I try to keep the lines really simple. You can draw a million lines on every golfer and pick things apart. For me, it's just about references. So this line here, I'm just watching how you work around the side. Does your hip slide out? Does your head move crooked? Does it go down and back? This line here, I'm watching what, I don't teach swing planes either. I teach, let's find your swing plane. What your hands, your club head are doing relative to what I call your hub. So your hub is this point between your shoulders and your back, your sternum and your back. Imagine like a golf ball right in between there. Yeah, and why I say that, and I use this term, I always define this with everybody because I do use it quite a bit when I teach. If I want to speed up my arms around me, even if I hold them together, if I want to speed them up, the simplest way is to do this. I wouldn't go to try to get, if I'm going to try to drive that way, there's this relationship, because here's where my arms are attached, that I can drive the most energy that way, right? So it's just, as we're watching you as you make a takeaway, if your arms disconnect from your hub, well, you can't hit a ball this way. So you have to reconnect them at somewhere in the swing.
Yeah.
So if you watch all the different, guys, some guys have, like you mentioned Tony Finau. Tony comes back, he comes back kind of steep, but then he loops it, right?
Yeah.
But if you watch his hands and his hub, he doesn't loop his arms and hands, neither does Matt Wolff. The hands and the hub stay together. The club is what's moving around, exactly. And there's this theory that if we create this kind of baseball whipping action, we can pick up speed. Some people it does, some people it doesn't. So let's watch and kind of see what's happening here as we start the takeaway. We already know the pressure moves okay. So all arms, no engine, right? So we got our whip handle, right? We call this our engine. This is kind of the middle part of the engine. Here's the transmission. There's the wheels, right? So you got your wheels and your transmission trying to work without the engine.
I guess I kind of come up way further than I thought I would too, like with that lead arm. Even though it breaks down a bit, but
Hey, the breakdown doesn't bother me. It's really more like I'm watching kind of what happens with the trail shoulder and the trail arm, because that's a huge power source, right? So you got a lot of good stuff going on, and you're just backwards, right? You and so many people. So what I want you to do is I just want you to feel a couple of things. Just grab your 7-iron there and set up on the plate there for me. Turn this off. And so we're going to do this. We're going to take club, you hold it. We're going to go here and try to keep your chest right here. Just move your arms. There you go. Okay, now from here, if I grab this and I pull all this, feel what's happening? So what are you using this energy to move this and this, or using this to move all of that?
Right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So the tail's wagging the dog, the transmission's pulling the engine. So if I did this now, you stay there, I'm coming back to you. It's just a good visual I like to use. If you grab my mace here, and just kind of hold it in the middle so it's not super heavy there. Okay. So now I want you to kind of think of your golf swing, and I want you to take that heavy weight. No, hold it in the middle, because I don't want you to get hurt, right? And just start going up with just your arms and that. And then just like we do in our swing, just your arms, right? Now, if I take the heavy belt and keep it going, what's this starting to do? Starting to pull on. Isn't that where you're at in your swing? It goes like this. So now you're going to stay over here. You're going to come down into this really steep position, right? Okay, so if you and me were going to go out in the parking lot, have a contest, who could throw this the farthest? I wish I had a grass where I could do this, because it would be fun. If I said you have to throw this like your golf swing, you would take this thing like this and pull it back like this. But because it's heavy, you have to stop it, and then you'd have to throw it again. I can tell you, I can take some of the strongest people I've coached, and I could throw this farther than them, because I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to throw it, and they're going to be going, right? So if I put too much energy into this too long, I got to stop it. And if I stop it, I have to restart it, and I have to use energy to restart it. But if I get my engine moving my arms and club now I can shift, brace, and drive all this energy that way, right? So you're just backwards. And why so many golfers are backwards? Club doesn't weigh a lot, ball doesn't move.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like it's easy to feel with that, but the disconnect
is
when it's lighter.
Club doesn't weigh a lot, ball doesn't move. So we have two problems in this equation. The first one is the very first one, and it's with everybody. When they learn golf, when they think of golf, it's the first thing they're told. All right, you look pretty good. Hit the ball. No, dude, you got to finish. Well, right? You see chicks do this all the time with their boyfriends behind them. I can't hit the ball. Well, quit trying to hit the ball. How about we create something that puts energy through? We're trying to propel something that way. Yeah. Because the ball doesn't move, just laughing at us, we just get into this mentality of, oh, I got to hit this thing. I got to hit this thing. I got to hit this thing. And then, like I said, the other problem is this doesn't weigh a ton unless you're a junior or somebody with two heavy clubs, and we don't learn to swing it. So if I'm going to swing this, you can see what I'm doing. I'm turning. My arms and club are reacting to me. I'm not going.
Right.
And that's where you
feel like I'm doing that a lot.
That's exactly what you're doing, right? So it's several-fold. The first thing that we have to do is like, okay, is this a concept problem? Is this a physical problem? Is this just a central nervous system thing, right? In other words, your central nervous system, it's been so long since you've done things where you've had to load, unload, that we have to go back and we have to go, okay, we have to find, do exercises, do tangible things just to get your system to go, it's okay to load, unload, brace, unload, right? Sometimes it's a combination of all of them, right? So in an eval I don't teach, but I always like to give someone something simple to just start to stew on, right? And the reason I don't teach in an eval, everybody's like, oh, you just want more money. No, it has nothing to do with it. Is the fact that if I find that if I don't talk through this process, I make bad diagnoses. And then I waste 2 lessons on stuff and I go, God, I wish I wouldn't have started that way. And then I got to find a way to explain to the guy to like, well, you got to throw that stuff out because I don't like that. I still do that. I'll do something with you. I'll go, oh, you know what? I don't like that. I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here. And we're going to go right here. Okay. Bring your club over here. You're going to set up in front of the mirror for me like this. Crisscross your arms over your shoulders with your club there. Okay. And you're going to connect that dot to that dot. Perfect. Let's do that again. Orange dot, blue dot. Perfect. Now grab your golf club. Backswing, orange dot, blue dot. Closer. Orange dot, blue dot.
I feel like I'm like
don't care.
Way up.
Yeah. And you might a little bit, right? So there's where we find out if we've got a hip or an ankle problem, right? Okay. So if you go this way and your foot has to do this to try to get you over there, well, that means that something can't turn and load properly. Does that make sense? But we're not there yet. So I want you to set up a ball over here. Oops, excuse me.
Sorry.
And I want you to crisscross the arms, connect the dots just to get the feel again. And then once you've got that feel, you're going to set the club down. Perfect. Do that one more time for me. Touch wider with the base this time. There we go. Good, good, good. Here we go. Connect those two for me. Beautiful. Okay. Give this 2 seconds for this to reset. So you might have to do an extra practice feel. When I manually capture it, it takes a second extra longer. So we've got our dot connected. Good. And good. You don't even have to worry about the forward stuff. We've got one goal here. Here we go. Connect the dots. A little smooth swing. Good. All right, so now we look at everything. The first thing I look at with something like that is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at your attack angle and your club path, right? And I go, okay, is that getting a little shallower? Is the club path getting a little bit better? And then we might come over here and we go, okay, well, let's look. Whenever you get these videos or whenever I do them, the starting video is always on the right, and then the one we're working on or comparing against is always on the left. So if we just draw our compare lines again.
I know you didn't really tell me to do it either, but I tried to keep my shoulders or spine a little more level on that one too.
Yeah, we haven't got to setup. Like I said, I just wanted to give you just some kind of simple cue to get started, right? Right. And get you to feel like you're less. See how much lean you have here. See how less it is here. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's pretty drastic.
2D video can be a little challenging to look at because it's hard to look at. We can't see angles that are actually happening, right? But what it kept you doing was, as you started back this way, it kept you from going here early, right? And got this to get more back over, right? So let's watch the downswing real quick. That was pretty good. Okay. So now we're just going to change your path in one swing. I'm sure we can do it. Okay. So go ahead and set up there for me. And ball or no ball? Ball. We'll take a couple of practice feels first, but we'll end up with the ball here. So yeah, let's move it out of the way for a second. So I just want you to connect those two dots for me up to the top of your swing. Good. Now I want your left arm to feel like it's under this as you start your downswing. There you go. Okay, good. Let's make a little smooth practice swing doing that. Dots connect first. Left arm under. Good. Okay, ball. Go at a speed that you can manage, otherwise you're going to smash my noodle here, okay? But priority one is you got to connect your dots, okay?
Yeah.
So here we are, connect dots, arm, good, do it again, that's perfect, here we go. Connect dots, good, arm under, good. They don't capture when we top them. Grab another one. Oh, just grab another one. Get out of the way. Get one of these. Same feel.
Try to do a feel one.
Perfect. Good, love that. See how far back you got behind that ball? Good, show me that, behind it. Here we go, connect the dots. Arm under. There we go, let's take a look. Now we got you a little bit behind it. Got rid of some path, that's good. Now we're gonna have to do some sequencing stuff. It's not gonna just noodles and cues aren't gonna randomly just fix it. But what I want people to start to see is like they can do better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's watch this angle here real quick. Let's actually put the two together instead of the starting one. You see the difference in where the club position is,
Oh yeah.
right? Versus
Yeah.
out here already.
That one on the right,
Right.
way out there.
Yep. Now let's see how well we connected the dots. Right? So there was the angle of the one swing. This was the last one. Let's put your starting one over it.
Oh yeah, I can see it now in the first one where I'm like way kind of.
Yeah, right. So this is just a small exercise to just show you, like, look at the difference in position of the club. See how steep it is here? It's kicking out away from you. We get the club more down around your spine because we need it to go around us. We need to go around the hub.
Right.
If it bisects the hub this way, there ain't no way it's going to go around it this way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, but we're going to have to do lower sequence stuff, right? Like we want to see as much as we can get done without focusing on it, but we're going to have to get your lower body to start sequencing a little sooner. But even look at the difference in the follow through. See how much more jammed that is than this?
Yeah.
Your arms are more extended in front of you, right? Let's look at what the pressure did, just out of curiosity. Pressure goes back, pressure goes through. Yeah, right. Any questions you want me to answer on this video that we didn't kind of go over?
So not that I can think of off the top of my head, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if it's something that you see as an issue I'm having, but I feel like seeing all of my data kind of reconfirms what I felt already, which is that I have potential to maybe unlock a pretty decent golf swing. I just don't know how much of it is. I mean, obviously there are path issues and all that stuff. I feel like I have really powerful legs.
Okay.
I want to learn how to use them.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah.
I know
That's
you
what I
talked about
said, though.
sequencing stuff.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Yeah.
So.
Yep. So some of that, like I said, some of that can be simple stuff, simple little neurological stuff you do at home that you can also then kind of take to the range. I mean, there's like 10 different ways we can work on it.
Right.
It just depends on the person. So I start with one thing. If we go over and do an exercise over there and I say, okay, now let's come over here and put it together, and it doesn't move the needle, we're like, throw it out. We've got to take our time to make sure I'm not gonna sit and force a drill. Oh, go do this for 2 hours and come back. If it doesn't move the needle, it's a waste of time, right? So, yeah.